All right, thank you so much, Juan. Hello to the Beautification Committee of Douglas County. This is a committee that I created when I came into office because cleanliness is very close to my heart, particularly after working in a surgical environment for most of my life. Everything is clean and sterile, but I don't expect our county to be sterile, but I do expect for it to be clean. Our population growth is continuing here in Douglas County. Right now, we're probably just south of 150,000 residents, and that has shown an increase since 2010. So we are probably at 144,000 citizens at this time, and maybe more as the years progress. But I do want to make sure that this beautification program is very critical to me, particularly to my administration. We want to keep our county clean, decent, and in order. With that being said, we don't have a formal agenda this morning. I basically just wanted an update from all the members, so you could just talk about your individual areas. And what I will do, I'll start with our code enforcement because I want to be very, I'm sensitive to your time this morning. Russell Tassone is our code enforcement manager. Can you please, if you could, unmute your mic and just give us an update on what's going on in code enforcement, your staffing, all your resources that you have available, and just basically just an update would help.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Just real quickly, so the additional personnel that we brought in December 12th, we have the 3 additional officers. They're about to finish up their training, and they're about ready to go out into the field on their own in their own separate areas. So that's just going to increase our presence out there, with 3 extra people. And my anticipation, I was hoping for the middle of February to start some proactive measures. I'm just going to move that forward till the 1st of March, just to make sure that their training is, where it needs to be. So on the 1st of March, we're going to be a lot more proactive throughout all areas of the county and all the different property zonings, whether they're residential or commercial. We're addressing. Our litter ordinance has always been our biggest calling complaint, and we're just going to keep that trend with our proactive work. We're going to be looking at the litter ordinance, outdoor storage that looks cluttery and junky. So we're going to be addressing quite a few things. So my hope, starting March 1st, over the next 4 or 5 months after that, I'm hoping that everyone here and the citizens just in general will see a marked improvement in the appearance of these properties just simply as they're riding around all the different thoroughfares in the county. So that's that part of it. Resource-wise, again, the board's always, especially the last few years, been very generous with our budget and giving us the resource we need. The additional vehicles are still on hold, unfortunately. It looks like there may be another couple months, but we're adjusting that internally, and it's not going to be an issue to have our additional officers out and about. That's going to be a non-issue. The only other plans that we might have, if we're going to some subdivisions for some sweeps in the subdivisions, we're going to get with the sign department for DOT. We're going to have some signs constructed for each one of our vehicles. Basically, we're going to prop them up at the beginning of the subdivision entrances, and it's basically just going to say, code enforcement is going to be out here in the next 14 days, 21 days, whatever the case may be, kind of give them a heads up to hopefully start cleaning the properties on their own before we come out and write the citations. And then the final thing, we're getting ready to get started for the commercial businesses in the county. I almost have a complete list from the occupational tax department for the number of businesses that we have. And we're going to start off with an initial postcard mail out to all those businesses, reminding them of their responsibility to keep their properties, parking lots, parking spaces free and clear of litter. And we're hoping that will also get a jump before we have to come out and write official citations on that. So hopefully the next couple months will look different than the last couple months is our hope.
Thank you so much. Just had a question. You said you will be sending letters to the commercial properties. Is that?
Well, we're looking to do a postcard size.
Yeah, postcard.
We're going to title it as an information notice rather than a citation. It's still going to have the codes on it. Still going to remind them of their responsibilities to keep the property in compliance without an official citation at this point. And then after we send those postcards out, probably within 30 days after that, then we'll just start our incremental sweep, starting from one side of the county to the other. And then if we have to write citations after that, then so be it.
Right. So that's their way of being proactive and giving them the information in advance of the areas that need to be addressed in advance. And then you say you'll come back in 30 days, and then that's fair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And certainly when I started, I did not introduce all the members of our team, and all of them, in fact, are not here today. But if you could, what I'll do is, Russell, well, first I'll start with myself, Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones, who is the chair of the Beautification Program here in Douglas County. And I believe I am by myself on this one, because this is one that I just talk about every day. Since I've been in office, I don't want to see one piece of paper on the side of the roads. I just want it to be just pristine here in Douglas County. So we do have Russell Tassone. We have Imaji Stewart, who is over our Keep Douglas County Beautiful. Dion Penn is my executive assistant, and a special projects coordinator is on the line. We have Wendy Cottle, who is our manager of constituent services, and then also Alex Benton Court, who is the chief information officer, and Tiffany Stewart Stanley. I didn't see you. I apologize. Tiffany Stewart Stanley, who is our assistant county administrator, who's certainly involved in this, and she was the pioneer of Douglas County, Keep Douglas County Beautiful here in Douglas County, the program, which was quite a bit of rigor to even obtain that status. Madam ACA, I did not see you, and you are here now. I would like to yield the floor to you, and today, again, it's just basically updates from each member. I don't think she's here. She's not here. Someone move on. Imaji Stewart, do you have an update from your department?
Madam Chair, I have the update. If you could
I'm sorry.
back to me in 1 second, if you could go to the next.
Okay, I'll go to, let me see who's next. Wendy Cottle, do you have anything to add today?
Okay. Madam Chair, I don't have an update at the moment.
Okay. And I'm going to go straight to you, Alex Benton Court, who is our Chief Information Officer.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I was recently added to this committee, but I'd like to make myself available to see how we can leverage technology to achieve the goal of the committee. So at this moment, I do not have an update.
Okay. Thank you. And certainly the members of the committee, if you need technology to help us, to help sophisticate us even more, we would greatly appreciate if you touch bases with our Chief Information Officer, and he could build a plan around to allow us to be effective. In fact, Russell, do you need any support with regard to the commercial properties in terms of like a database, or how would you track? You've sent cards out. Would there be like a trigger on your system to say my 30 days have ended and I need to go out and look at these properties? Can you speak to that? And do we have that ability or that capacity now in the county to do so? And if not, what are your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. So we are, like I said, occupational tax is compiling a list just by the business licenses that they acquire on a daily basis. They're compiling a list, commercial rather than residential. We're almost finished with that, and then we're going to get started internally doing that. I don't have any specific needs right now from Alex's department, but they have always been extremely helpful for us when we do need something. So I have no doubt that if there is a need, right now we're good, but if there is a need, I know that they're always very efficient and quick in supplying us with what we need. So I have no problem with that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Russell, and then also thank you, Alex Benton Court, for agreeing to just be part of this committee to assist us. And I see Madam ACA has her camera on, so that's an indication that she's ready.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I apologize for the delay.
Oh, that's okay.
So just in regards to Keep Douglas County Beautiful, I would like to give a very quick update of some of the projects that we've done since we've met last. And I will share my screen. some of the things that have happened with Keep Douglas County Beautiful. And hopefully you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it now.
All right. So, as we know, Keep Douglas County Beautiful, we have, we've still been busy in the community doing a lot of events and things throughout the past year. 2022 was actually a busy year. We did have one major change to Keep Douglas County Beautiful. We now have a new coordinator, Miss Amaje Stewart. She is the new coordinator for Keep Douglas County Beautiful, and she's really hit the ground running. I provided her email information for anyone that needs to get in contact with her. But she took over in August of 2022 from Mr. Bria Cobb for Keep Douglas County Beautiful, and so she has continued the rigor that Chairman Jones likes to see with Keep Douglas County Beautiful as far as events and things of that nature. We did have 2 junk dumps, and I've got junk dumps this year. We had one in August of 2022, and then we had one in the later part of the year around, I believe, September, October. And that's where citizens were allowed to come and bring their anything from their house except for the items that you see listed. I believe we filled up each time at least 4 dumpsters full of things from our citizens. So it was very successful. We had lines of people around the buildings. One of the things that we do this in conjunction with is our cigarette litter prevention program. And while people are dumping their junk, we also give out information to citizens about cigarette litter prevention, pocket cigarette ash holders, as well as car cigarette ashtray holders. So it's a thing to get out more information about our cigarette litter prevention program, but also allows our citizens to get rid of some things that we don't want to end up in our community. This year, Amaje also did our bring us your batteries here at the courthouse on November 19th. It was a very successful event. We see here pictures of people, cars of people coming, dumping their batteries in the dumpster. And so that kept a lot of batteries from getting into our trash and into our system so they could be recycled. So that was a great thing that our first time event that she came up with, which we involved our youth commissioners and other members of our community in that event. And then we recently had our Bring One for the Chipper, and this is something that we've done for the past few years, that we partnered with Home Depot, and we actually do the Home Depot on Thornton Road, and we encourage citizens to bring their Christmas trees for recycling. And so we were there from 9 to noon that day, and citizens dropped off their Christmas trees for recycling. And we also know that Keep Douglasville Beautiful, they didn't have the Home Depot, the one on Douglas Boulevard, but we have the one on Thornton Road since it's in the county. And so we that's something that we've done every year, that we encourage our citizens to help with the recycling. And then we also had our Martin Luther King Jr. Day tree seedling giveaway. That's something that we do to encourage citizens to do community service. And this allows citizens to plant a tree. We encourage them to do it over the Martin Luther King Jr. Day weekend. And it's something that we've done for the past few years here at the courthouse. And we typically give out over 100 trees at that event, tree seedlings every year for citizens. And then Amaje wrote a grant to the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation, and we were awarded $2,500, which is a brace grant. And that will help with our efforts here for beautification in the county. And so that was a great effort on her part to write and receive that grant to help us with our beautification efforts. And then last but not least, the Keep America Beautiful National Conference will be celebrating Keep America Beautiful 70 years. And Ms. Stewart, Amaje Stewart, will be attending that conference in Washington, D.C. to be better educated about, the latest practices with beautification, as well as she will be attending the what we call the Executive Director Training, which is something that every coordinator or director for Keep America Beautiful, one of the affiliates, has to attend. So she'll be attending that conference and bringing back a lot of great information from Keep America Beautiful on things we can do to continue to keep our county and our community clean. So that's all we have at this time, and I can yield for any questions.
Any questions from members of the committee? Okay. Thank you for the update, Madam ACA. That was great. We're doing some great things. And for this year, do you have anything that's on the radar that's coming up for us that you can speak to?
Yes, ma'am. So we hope to continue a lot of the great programs that we did last year. We'll do the junk dump again. We'll also do something for America's Recycling Day. Another thing that we're going to we want to do more of, which because of the pandemic that we weren't able to do as much, as get back into the schools and continue our partnerships with our schools. We have our community gardens with our schools that we work with. I believe Mason Creek Elementary is one of the main ones that we work with making sure that they have education about beautification, but as well as providing them with supplies and things of that nature. On February 17th, and Amaji, correct me if I'm getting the wrong date, Amaji will be giving out some more trees for Arbor Day. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing that, as well as we're already looking forward to participating in a lot of community events, such as the Taste of Douglasville that will be coming up in May. And we will also have some community cleanups for Keep America Beautiful, their Beautification Month. We'll have some, we'll be encouraging our community to participate in some projects for that. So Amaji, do you have anything you'd like to add to this report?
Yes, good morning all. I do plan to have a mattress recycling event also sometime in March. I don't know the exact date, but I am planning that. That was one of the main reasons I applied for the grant, because it is a springtime grant. They do award grants to events happening between March through May. So that's one project I'm working on currently.
And I wanted to say Ms. Stewart's done a great job. I just wanted to introduce her to the committee today, and she will be providing this report going forward. So I just wanted to make that known. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much again, and thank you for what you've done thus far, Margie Stewart, to lead this beautification program alone. I see that Rana Suleiman is here. DCA hasn't joined us yet, but Deputy Director Rana, do you have an update for us? I just want basically updates today, nothing specific, because this is the beginning. This is our first kickoff meeting, and it's basically about beautification. And before, I believe your predecessor had, he was responsible for litter pickup in public works, but that's now shifted to Heath Coward. So you're probably saying, why why are you here? But do you have anything regarding beautification updates? I know you work on the roads as part of your ordeal. Can you talk a little bit? Do you have anything for me? I won't force you to say anything if you don't have anything.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Happy to be on my first beautification committee meeting. As far as an update goes, we do currently have one ongoing project, which is a landscape project with HRC, which is adding additional landscape to I-20 at the New Road interchange. And we initiated this design end of last year, and we're currently midway of this design effort. We are still finalizing some of the beautification methods that we could use for this interchange. And we have scheduled a presentation for our upcoming Transportation Committee meeting. And what we can do is we can, once they present at the Transportation Committee meeting, at the next Beautification Committee meeting, we can have them present and provide us with updates.
Thank you so much. You know what, I just remember landscaping projects was under Bill Valentine. So, so what do you, talk to me a little bit about the landscaping, because spring is upon us, and do you have, we have our contractors already in place, ready to pull the weeds, make sure the flowers are coming. Can you speak to that yet? Because, you know, we have to have everyone in position, because the spring will sneak in on us, and we just want to be ready to go. Can you speak to the plans?
For sure. As far as landscape maintenance goes, that is still under DOT or Public Works DOT division. We do take care of any new landscaping or any project a new roadway project that proposes additional landscaping with it. So we do maintain that. Currently, we only have this one landscape project. Of course, we are keeping in mind the changing seasons, and with our design underway for this interchange beautification or landscape project, we're accounting for some of the vegetation, flowers, and plants that we can use that would survive much more long term than they have had on the previous projects. We're also maximizing the colors that we can get on our interchanges, just so that it attracts our tourists and our citizens and adds value to our roadway projects. Those are some of our initiatives, and apart from that, we're also looking at some of the lighting efforts that was done on I-20, such as the Douglas County sign that we have that was illuminated. We identified some of the outages that our staff, personally myself, and some of the citizens have reported, and we coordinated that effort, and we were able to get those replaced or initiated those requests under warranty. So we were slightly outside the warranty period, but the contractor was willing to work with us, and out of courtesy, they will be replacing those lights along the I-20 highway for the county signs to be illuminated again.
Thank you so much, Deputy Director. You know what? Speaking of Interstate 20, that's the main vein here in Douglas County. It is the aorta of the county. It's right dead center. It has a lot of I-20 has a lot of activity, a lot of folks visiting, and it really spurs the activity for folks to visit us and to feel comfortable when they enter our county. The gateway signage is beautiful. I'm noticing that the landscaping is setting the tone, but I want to see what your plans are. We're working with GDOT on keeping the litter picked up along that area, and I see them pick it up. 1 week it's up, and you ride through. It looks like just, I don't know. It looks like Hollywood rolling through there. It's beautiful. Then a week later, it's paper and trash and buckets and couches. I said, wow, how did that happen? So are you having any discussions with GDOT to see what they could do to help? And also, GDOT has informed me that we could work with them, but we have to pay additional money to have some additional litter pickups throughout the year. And there is a plan out there. So I'll be willing to share it with you. And then if you get the GDOT, to see what we can do to ramp up the cleanliness along that I-20 corridor, starting from Liberty Road to Thornton Road. And you know, there's a retaining wall right there at Thornton Road going west. And it is a collection trap for just debris, paper. And that's the first spot you hit when you come into Douglas County. Thornton Road, that little area right there, the interchange area coming off the ramp. If you look to the left, is a retaining wall. And I don't know when the last time that retaining wall has been power washed. I wish they would give it a bath. If you could see what you could work just in that area, when you have an opportunity, if you could ride, you'll see exactly what I'm looking at. So if we could tighten it up and then see if you could work with GDOT. I believe there's a program out there that we could take advantage of additional litter pickups. Of course, it will cost the county, but our citizens really want this county clean. I receive phone calls, and when things look good, they love the gateway signage. They love the gateway signage. They love the landscape, and they're so proud. But that litter is just driving us crazy. And I'm not sure if there's a machine, once we pick it up, somebody at night come and just spray litter all over the county again. But we want to be number one in the county, in the state of Georgia for cleanliness. So if we could chase that, that would be good. If we could put that notch in our belt, that would look good for Douglas County. So thank you for your report. Do we have any, and I don't see Fred Perry here yet. He had one, and he met with the trash haulers here in Douglas County. We met with them over the holidays to ask if they could button up their loads, because they pick up the trash, but if they don't button their loads up, trash flies all over the county. So it's a moot point once you have someone that he's connecting. He could feel me talking about litter. So he's connecting now, and I will ask him to provide you with an update. Hello, Deputy County Administrator. How you doing?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sorry, I'm a little tardy to the party.
Oh, no problem. I was just segueing into the meeting that we had with the trash haulers around the holidays. And all I did is mention it, and if you could take over and brief the committee on what was said and done, and then all the things that you have going on in public works. I know Heath is not here today, and I know you'll bring it up.
Yes. So the meeting with the trash haulers was very productive. They were very engaging, to say the least. So they were adamant to let Madam Chair know that they were not the source of the trash in the county, and they were taking every step that they possibly could to, mitigate trash in our county, and they were open to, having regular meetings periodically, just to let Madam Chair and the representatives know, that they've continued to try to minimize trash in the county. I think we've even heard from one that told us that they saw, maybe a competitor, if you would, whose truck was not covered appropriately. So we have, and Madam Chair, we're going to follow up on that to have some regular dialogue with the trash haulers. I, don't want to just call them when something is going wrong, or when we see a bunch of trash around. I think it's good for us to have a good line of communication with them. I think it was roughly about 3 or 4 of them there. I think we put the invitation up to about 7 of them, and I think if we continue with that, and I will take the lead on that, Madam Chair, and following up with Heath to keep a line of communication with those trash haulers, and see if we can at least meet quarterly, and maybe next time we'll have some sandwiches for them or something like that, and just really solidify that relationship with those trash haulers. Some of the things that we've been doing, and I just met with Heath on this, as far as trash pickup around the county. We have several initiatives that are going. We have Bright Side, which provides litter pickup services twice per month on I-20 on the on and off ramps, and that's under the direct oversight of the DOT staff members. Yellowstone provides grass cutting and litter pickup services as well. They have 8 cycles that they're slated to do in 2023, and thank you, Madam Chair, for that, because normally we have just 6 cycles. So in 2023 we will have 8. That will begin in again, I said, from April to November. And the DOT staff members, they provide grass cutting and litter pickup services throughout the entire year. They fill in the gaps where Yellowstone and Bright Side fall short. And then we have a special litter pickup task force that was formed last year for DOT staff members that would like to stay over after hours to pick up trash in certain areas of the county, and we have a line item for them in Public Works for overtime that they receive. So that started off, got out the gate. It was pretty popular at one point. The popularity has kind of waned a little bit. We're trying to get them back engaged with that, Madam Chair, and I believe that we'll be successful in doing so. And in addition to that, procurement has received a scope of work from us, and we are waiting to put out an RFP for litter pickup. And I had a meeting with Latanya on yesterday. That RFP should go out. And Madam Chair, I believe we're doing all we can right now. I would like, I'm glad to see that this committee is moving forward, because it's all open to any ideas that we might have that we can continue to push the importance of our citizens not littering, and finding somewhere to put trash if they need to. I've talked to Madam Chair about she and I possibly doing a just a small segment for DCTV to bring awareness to litter in our county and the importance of not littering. So any ideas, we are wide open for them, but we have some pretty good initiatives going right now, but they're not keeping up with the amount of trash that's being put down, unfortunately, being put down in our county. And Madam Chair and I talked yesterday that, you know, we'll come one weekend and we'll see how beautiful things could be, and then a couple of days later, we're back to square one. So it's a constant thing. We have to constantly stay on top of it, and we're up for the challenge, Madam Chair.
Very good. Any questions for our Deputy County Administrator regarding what the plans are? And certainly wanted to, I know our citizens, as they are viewing, we were utilizing prior to the pandemic inmate support and our trustees, and because of the limited staff, you know, the staffing shortage in the sheriff's office, he had to make some adjustments, so he's not able to have personnel out there to observe the inmates and as they pick the litter up at this time. And I just wanted to commend Sheriff Pounds for just providing resources prior to the pandemic. And we all know our lives changed, and it happens. I won't cry about the pandemic, but what we did do, we pivoted, we shifted our processes. We found other resources and ideas that would allow us to continue to address the litter here in Douglas County. Because I did receive calls in the height of the pandemic, and I'm telling citizens, I said, please forgive us, the inmates are no longer available. And then, of course, Sheriff Pounds wanted to protect his inmates from developing COVID-19. So we all had to just push through, but we are back again. I praise God for this opportunity for us to even just be here talking about instituting our processes that we had that we had before, but we wanted to even ramp up more. I had a question for you, DCA. Stop signs and yield signs throughout the county, and street names on the little signs. It's time for a refresh, particularly in the county area. So I know we have a sign shop, and if Heath's department, I believe that falls under Heath. Sign.
I think that's still under, that would be under you, right, Suleiman?
Yeah. Yes, Mr.
Oh, it's under you. There you go. Thank you, Deputy Director. Just I'm noticing it's time for some of the stuff. If you all just ride through, some stop signs need to be changed throughout the community. They're old and worn. It's time. Just ride through all the subdivisions within the county, and then some of the streets, little signage that usually hang off the side of the little poles. They're mangled or warped or just old. It's time for a refresh. And that'll give our printer is probably just cold right now. I want to warm it up and strike it up and just go through, and you all take some inventory, look at do an assessment, what streets need to be changed out, and go out and change those signs. Stop signs, yield signs, make them look nice throughout the community. Even now, what about subdivisions? Is that our responsibility if it's within the county, or is that the homeowners association? I just don't want to overstep.
Yes, Madam Chair. On public roadways, that is something that we'll do. And to your point, personally driving through the county, that's something I've realized too, that it's time for a refreshed look to come about these signage. And just a quick update on that is we were slightly short-staffed on our traffic maintenance side. We had 2 open positions for signing technicians, and we were able to hire 1 person to fill that position who starts with us in the upcoming week. And once we have that, I think we should be getting started with this REAMP program where we go around, drive through the county, and get these signs replaced as needed. And so far, we've been working through the complaints that we received, the staff, and my concerns that we've seen around the county, and we've been trying to update those. And with this new hire, I think we'll have a much more added resources to go around the county and add additional signage replacements to our list.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, since we spoke on signage, thank you so much. And once it happens, Deputy Director, will you pull my coattail and also our DCA Deputy County Administrator and And I know Dr. Corbin may not want to go on a ride around, just look at signs, but we'd just love to just see what you've done and you and your team have done. I know it's going to take a minute, but they need to be printed. And I'm going to utilize my subdivision as one. When I ride through, I say, the signs, when the last time they've been changed out. And then I ride through other subdivisions, not using mine as the example, but just ride through. It's time. So you said total refresh. It's time. Okay. All right. Worn shoulders. That would be you, DCA Public Works. Are they still addressing? No one has called me about worn shoulders. When that's road shoulders. You know,
shoulders?
Yeah, of the road. Sometimes there are little pockets where the cars roll off on the side of the road, and your car, the wheels drop down. Worn shoulders. And Suleiman, I know you turn your camera off, but it's one on Post Road. If you could tell me a little bit about that one too. It's a shoulder that Commissioner Alcaraz brought to my attention. If you're getting off Post Road, there's a worn shoulder. Am I saying the right thing, Suleiman?
Yes, Madam Chair. That is true. In fact, that is exactly at I-20 interchange at Post Road. Coming from I-20 westbound, as you get on Post Road, due to some excessive truck usage and just excessive usage of the shoulder in general, it was worn out, and it definitely has some potholes, and with some delayed maintenance, it has created a mess there. And I personally drove through that in the very first week of my time with the county, and I personally wasn't satisfied with the conditions there, and that is why we've taken up a SPLOST funded project that totally will redesign or evaluate this intersection for design upgrades, and that would also include that shoulder maintenance or upgrade of that repavement of that shoulder. And we also identified that this condition was due to the excessive usage of that shoulder for right turn movement. So we will be requesting a right turn lane for that interchange, and along with some other improvements. So that is currently in the works, and I'm working on that contract to be finalized with the consultant, and we'll have that going very soon.
Okay, thank you. The committee may say, what does this have to do with beautification? It has a lot, because when you wash your car and make it look real nice, and then you drop it in that shoulder, you have mud everywhere. So that distorts the car, and then that's beautification again. You're riding with a dirty car. So thank you so much. And then there's another one that I want to commend us for addressing. It's coming off that Riverside corridor going to Thornton Road. Can you speak to that one, Suleiman? I believe that's been addressed. Riverside and all the way down to the intersection section of Thornton Road, you make a right. Can you talk about that?
Yes, Madam Chair. So for SPLOST 2016, that was an intersection that was identified as an intersection where we required some improvements and some maintenance efforts. And what we were able to do was we were able to coordinate that effort with GDOT and split up some of the manpower and some of the efforts there, and have GDOT address county needs on 2 of the 4 quadrants of that intersection. And through that coordination, they were able to improve those conditions and upgrade some of our roadway facilities. And we now have a much safer and smoother roadway access. We are still working on the other part of this project, and we are planning on adding some additional improvements to this intersection just for optimal design and optimal safety and accessibility that we can provide to our citizens.
Okay. I was thinking as you were speaking, Deputy Director, that's considered a gateway right there to when you make a right, because Fulton County goes just probably a mile, not even a mile, about a quarter of a mile. When you make a right, you're in Fulton County, but that's a gateway into Douglas County. There's a sign that says "Welcome to Douglas County." Can you refresh those? I know we've worked on the 20, but those signs coming in those various ports into the county pockets, such as that Fulton County line. You got another one going Cobb County line, but is that, can you see, 92, the 92 area when you go all the way down? I think that goes to Paulding, but when the sign that says "Welcome to Douglas County," all those signs need refreshing, and I know it's coming from the print shop. Those signs hadn't been refreshed in a while. So any port that comes into Douglas County that's considered a gateway, can you make sure your team follow up on that and make sure that signage has a pristine look saying "Welcome to Douglas County"?
Yes, Madam Chair. And in fact, that was going to be one of the first assignments for our new hire, where they evaluate the entry points and exit points
There
of
you go,
the
entry
county
points.
and revamp all the signage as needed.
Okay, I want the signs that say you have arrived in Douglas County. All right, thank you so much. I'm trying to think of, if you could, DCA, if you could speak to Deputy County Administrator, speak to the street sweeper that we have planned. And then also just give us an update on two things, the street sweeper and then not our landfill, but what is it? We just repaired and put the concrete floor is at the landfill.
The transfer station.
Yeah, transfer station, just so, because that deals with beautification as well. It didn't look good at first. Okay, go for it.
So the transfer station again was upgraded, and it was a large amount of cement. I wish I could bring up the pictures that he shared with me.
Can you send them to Madam ACA and see if she could share them with us while you talk?
You know what, Madam Chair? I don't know. I'd have to dig for them. I don't have them readily available to me. But you know, it was just impressive the amount of concrete that was poured there. And for those that didn't know, at our transfer station, it's a temporary transfer station, so it's been utilized far beyond its useful life, and it's hung in there. And the flooring there at the transfer station, it was non-existent pretty much. It was pretty much mud and dirt, and Heath was extremely concerned about the safety of it all. So monies was put into that project, and a complete redo of that flooring was done there. Now the overall structure is still a temporary structure, and that's one of the things that we're working on as a SPLOST project in the 2022 SPLOST is a new transfer station. But the flooring was upgraded. The trash haulers are a lot, they're very appreciative of it, a lot more safer to operate in that temporary transfer station that we have now. And you know, it's not unsightly anymore as well. So so that was a great plus for us. And Madam Chair, there was one other thing.
Street sweeper.
Street sweeper. Yeah. So the cost of the street sweeper has increased exponentially, and
Wow. I said, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't say why. I just said, wow.
yeah, it has increased exponentially. And
How much is a street sweeper for the sake of the public's knowledge? And we thought initially it would be 250,000.
Yeah, I think it's going up to about 320 now. The last costing I received from Heath was $320,000, which is incredible for just that one piece of equipment. So if we could have a conversation, Madam Chair, offline, and we can update you on where we are with the possible purchase of that. The sticker shock gave us some pause as to whether you wanted to still go through with that or not. So
yeah, but we still need to. I believe Tiffany Stewart Stanley, ACA. We had just a certain amount allocated in ARPA, right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, there's funding
So
allocated.
we would have to before I could do anything, we would have to go back and make some adjustments. I'm assuming take it to the board again to let them know that the price increased, and then work with our project manager who's working on the ARPA, that's keeping everything in alignment for us before we can, because the price changed. And I believe, did we just carve out 250? I'm just trying to, Madam ACA, I just want to make sure, is that what we said? We didn't leave it open-ended cost, right? It was specific.
I believe the amount was close to around $300,000 is what we allocated for it. Yeah.
Oh, 300. Okay. So it's $20,000 difference if we.
And I'll get an exact, Madam Chair, what I'll do, I'll reach out to Heath and to Levon, and I'll have them to send us an email and just give us a total briefing on where we are with the street sweeper and the difference in cost and what have you. So I'll do that now.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we sweep along those curb and gutter cigarette butts everywhere along, particularly Douglas Boulevard and Chapel Hill, just enough cigarette butts to build a house. So if we could just continue to, that street sweeper is critical. In fact, we've used companies where we called and just outsource this effort. And if you look at when you keep outsourcing, you bought a street sweeper. So it's like going to the laundromat. You keep paying quarters every week. You bought a washer and a dryer. You just need to invest. So see what we can do and then bring it back to the board if we need an additional $20,000, and maybe we can shift it or either just get the $20,000 out of the general fund. But we do need a sweeper in this county to address those curbs and gutters even along that Lithia Springs area. It's just, I know you all don't want me to take you out to all the areas that I know we can use a street sweeper on. It may not even be working when I finish saying this, that, this, and unfortunately, that's just my personality with regard to cleanliness. I just have to live in a clean environment, and then also want to protect the citizens here in Douglas County. And it's not about just on the outer appearance of our county. It's about the environment as well. We know that trash causes a problem. It contaminates the water when it's along the roads. So cigarette butts, and I know Madam ACA knows because that's why we have a cigarette litter prevention. It is not because they're an eyesore, because you know that nicotine can get in the water. And our main source of water in the Douglas County area is the Dog River. And that is our main caveat of water. And I sit on the Water and Sewer Authority Board. So I'm not just trying to just make us look perfect, but I do know I want to protect our health here in Douglas County. And that's important, and it starts with cleanliness.
Absolutely.
So thank you. So if we could just bring that information about that street sweeper, we definitely need it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here. Thank you so much for the update, Leslie. So that was perfect. Thank you. And I know Madam ACA was not here or DCA was not here, but I do have a question for you, Russell, our manager of code enforcement. You said your cars, do you have an idea when they're coming? I know we've had a supply and demand. It's just incredible with this inflation. Do you have an idea when the new trucks or cars are coming for your 3 new staff members? You said maybe in March, you think?
Well, excuse me, Madam Chair.
I know we've been waiting a year.
Yes, ma'am. We ordered them in September, and we anticipated them being here by the end of January. Of course, here we are. That's come and gone. I did get another update from our Ford dealer, who we have our state contract purchase through, about a week and a half ago, and our vehicles are still showing in order status, and they don't even have a build estimated time as of 10 days ago. Wow. I am going to reach back out to him in about a week. I wanted to give it a couple more weeks to cycle through, which will be about next week. Hopefully there'll at least be a build date started in on that. Some of the other vehicles that were on that list around our vehicles, when a build date was established, it looked like it took no more than 4 weeks for the vehicles to be done once a build date was established. So I'm hoping there'll be something on there within the next couple weeks, which will put us at about 5 or 6 weeks of getting it. But right now it's still blank. I'm hoping that's going to change next week is my hope. But the new staff members we're just doubling up with the older officers that have been with the department. They're actually just doubling up, going out in the field with them. We do have 2 spare vehicles that we're trying to not jump too much in, just so we don't add the wear and tear to that. But if push comes to shove, if we're still a couple more months out with the new vehicles, we can certainly accommodate and adjust as needed. It's really a non-issue. We would like to have the new vehicles just because they're hopefully going to be more reliable than some of the ones we have now. But it's operationally, it's not handcuffing us right now. Right now, it's just to make sure the training is done properly for the new 3 officers, and again, that will be done within the next couple of weeks. So, non-issues right now at this point.
Okay. I just also wanted to speak to, thank you. I want to speak to the Bankhead Highway 78 corridor area. When I first came into office, we put a huge robust plan around making sure it may not be the newest area in the county, but we could organize it and give it a pristine, uniform look. All the car dealers and auto dealers along there line their cars up, dress for me. And I'm noticing we are out of uniform in that area. What are your plans for that Bankhead Highway? I know you have put in 2017 you put a team on that area, manager, to just make sure that those various businesses along that area knew that we mean business here in Douglas County. They need to keep their areas at least in order, because it's an eyesore when you ride through Bankhead Highway in the 78 corridor. Can you speak to that and what your plans are?
Yes, ma'am. The short answer to that is I'm personally starting a sweep on that Bankhead corridor March 1st. Beginning of March, I'm going to be starting at the county city lines right there out at Burgers Market at McIntosh and Highway 78, heading east. And I'm just going to be going property to property, whether they're commercial, residential, whoever has frontage on Veterans Memorial. I'm going to be doing a sweep. I'll go down, a quarter mile at a time, a half mile at a time, whatever the case may be. And it'll just be on a rotating cycle. I started March 1st. I think over the, 4 or 5 months after that, it'll take me to the east end of the county line at Cobb County. And that's going to include all of those junky looking commercial properties. And they're going to be given a very, our ordinances require us to give a minimum 10-day time period for compliance before we can move to the next step of our process, whatever it may be. I'm going to be giving them the minimum time that we're required to give by the ordinances, because we've stopped multiple times over the last couple of years and had verbal nudges of, please get this cleaned up. And some have, most have not, clearly. So these citations are going to be 10-day, possibly 20-day citations, and then we'll be issuing summonses to start bringing these property owners and business owners into court. And then those have to deal with the judge and the fines that are associated with that, but they'll still get the property in compliance. So that's the plan starting in 19 days.
Okay. And signage along along the roads and on the corners, particularly in that Lithia Springs area, manager, we've received our share of calls regarding some of our citizens.
That'll be included with that sweep, and some of my other officers are going to be pulled out of their areas to assist me, specifically on the signage. If it just becomes too burdensome to handle both, they're going to be pulled off of their areas and go pull the signages off the right of way as needed. But that'll be happening also.
So how often the signs, like if you have a yard sale or someone have a yard sale at night, Saturday, do they need to come pick the sign up off the corner Sunday morning, or what are, I don't really like those signs on those corners, particularly if you look going down Chapel Hill and Central Church, there are signs there. Sometimes that sign's been there about a week. So do you have a sign team or somebody that's, if you have a code enforcement person, can they just grab the signs off the corner every Monday? I'm just not sure if you have a rotating cycle to address signs on the corner in our county. What's your plan?
Yes, ma'am. All of our field officers are authorized by being sworn in. We are authorized to remove the signages anytime, anywhere that are in the public right-of-ways. The yard sale signs specifically, those are also prohibited by our sign ordinance. We do try to give a couple days. Yard sales can only go on for no more than 3 days in a row. So we don't mind giving a little bit of, a couple day flexibility. But we see a yard sale sign dated from, November 1st of 2022, and we're in February of 2023. Clearly, they're not doing their part of it. So we'll take those signages, and we may even go to the property and give them a citation for it. But we can pull them, and we do have a regular, once a week, once every couple weeks, as they're out doing their other field work, as they have a minute to pull the signs, they're doing that. We are starting March 1st. We're going to have a specific day each week to go pull signs and signs only, so it doesn't interfere with any other field work that they're doing. So that's going to be a big push by myself and the other 6 officers. Again, the next couple months should be markedly different than you're seeing now.
Okay, we're very good in all our grocery stores and the retails along those areas. We have little pockets of retail, and sometimes the parking lots and the store frontage, could be full of cigarette butts and paper. But you said you will be getting in touch with those folks with a postcard, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's going to be that little postcard system. And actually, since Deputy County Administrator Perry's on, that's something that he actually brought to my attention about 6 weeks ago. I told him I was going to get on that, and since he's on right now, this is just a byproduct of the conversation that he had with me about 6 weeks ago with that.
Thank you, Russell.
Yes, sir.
And I just had one question before I yield the floor back to our Madam ACA, who really kind of runs the meeting, but I've just taken over today just with updates, but I know she'll have it going forward. Recycling efforts, if we could speak to those, Madam ACA, we continue what are we going? Are we continuing our plans for recycling here in Douglas? Or, I mean, I know you can pay the city recycle. They have a nice recycling program for their citizens, but Douglas County, we don't have anything unless we pay, the county citizens. Can you speak to recycling, and if there are any plans? It may not be any. We just, the county citizens just may need to continue to pay for recycling. Go for it. You have the floor.
Sure, Madam Chair. So before Ms. Cobb left, she had actually started looking into some different initiatives, and she actually had started working with Cobb County, getting some information on how they do their recycling for their citizens. One of the things that we were looking at is possibly, looking at some drop-off locations other than our landfill for our citizens that can drop off and recycling. But of course, we would have to assess the cost associated with that, as well as where would those locations be. That's one of the things that I know she was, trying to benchmark with Cobb County and see how they do that in their unincorporated areas.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that she was looking at. And then another thing that we found is also maybe just do more of an education campaign to our citizens about the landfill. We found that a lot of citizens don't know about the landfill, or don't, or maybe not aware of all the services that are provided. So that's one of the things that we want to look at doing for this year, is maybe do some sort of educational campaign on where you can recycle what we do have now. But we, like I said, that will start. Ms. Cobb started that, but of course, in the transition with Ms. Stewart, we're just getting her acclimated. So that's something that we're definitely going to look into for this year.
Would you consider sending a postcard out to the citizens? When COVID-19 hit, I hit every doorstep with a postcard in the mail, and just so a mailer, so they can look at it and say, oh, we have this. Would that help, you think? Or
yes, something like that would be very helpful. I think just a few things, like I said, really getting more active with our public service announcements, letting people know things like cover their loads. That's one of the things we're going to look at this year, doing PSAs on that, as well as where you can recycle, and more information, educational information about recycling altogether will be helpful. I think if we can get that information out to the citizens. So I've been allowing Ms. Stewart to get acclimated into her role as the External Affairs Coordinator, because Keep Douglas County Beautiful is just one component of that position. So giving her some time, but I think we're ready now to move forward with some of our more our initiatives that require a little bit more detail.
Thank you. And last but not least for me, and then I'll give the floor back to you, Madam PC, and if there are questions, you can field for those, and then I'll close out. Shredding. Are there any paper shredding events coming up this year like we've done in the past? And I appreciate us even spreading our wings, going to Woody Fife for the paper shredding, and then I believe it's the Lithia Springs Library. We moved there twice last year, and then once on the main site, which is the courthouse. Can we talk about the plans, if we have any? Because I'm telling you, it's great when we provide that shredding, free shredding for our citizens.
Yes. So the events at the senior centers and the libraries, those were coordinated through those departments, which are in the ICSD division. So those were some great events, and Keep Douglas County Beautiful, I think, was at some of those events, making sure to get out information. We do plan to do our shred event that we typically do in June. Where we have the big shredders and people come and bring their stuff to shred. We will be doing that, as well as maybe looking to add one more event towards the end of the year. So maybe one in the first half and another one in the second half. But like I said, all dependent upon cost to add additional activities for that.
Thank you. You all answered all my questions today, and it sounds like cleaning is forever. It doesn't even, it never goes away. So you can clean your kitchen and then you want a glass of water, then you have a dirty glass, or you wash clothes, now you need to use it. So it won't go. It's a cyclical effect. It's something that we can't take our eye off of. And I'm appealing to the citizens here in Douglas County, if you could just join this movement. I call it a movement, beautification movement here in Douglas County. I promise you, we will be healthier, safer. Our environment will be one that I feel comfortable with saying that we are safe. And then, last but not least, the county would definitely be beautiful. So I yield the floor back to you, Madam AC, just so you could feel to see if there are any questions. But again, like I said, today was our kickoff meeting. It was just primarily an update from all your areas and just to hear what we have going on. And I look forward to the ride along with you, Suleiman, once those signs are up, the signs are done. And just wanted to, so the beautification committee, I just want to make you aware that I'm setting up a tour of my executive assistant, special projects coordinator, will be working with me to set up a tour with Madam ACA and Deputy County Administrator David Corbin and Heath Howard, so we can ride through this county. And Suleiman, you are here. We're going to get a little minibus and we're going to ride through, and we're going to have our little assessment sheets. I'm going to give you all time to get it together before we ride out, and just want to see what's being done. And then we'll stop and have a little lunch or something. But I definitely wanted to make sure that everything that we say we're doing to promote cleanliness in this county is being done. Also, I believe we have an opportunity, the signs, define the signs through the county that indicate if you litter, there's a fine. Did we complete that project, or where are we with that, Madam CA?
Well, I will say I was on Thornton Road the other day and I did see one of the signs, so I was like, oh, look. I know Director Valentine, before he left, they had started putting some of the signs out. His initial thought was to put them in areas, some of the more less traveled areas, but I do know I have started seeing them like on Thornton Road and things of that nature. So I can talk to Director Rana just to kind of maybe see where we are with those. Have all of those signs been put out, and maybe get an idea of where it's been expanded to since they started the program. But we did get the signs approved and out, and so you go on Thornton Road, and I've seen them out in some maybe more remote areas of the county. But I think we need to maybe make that move to make sure that they're in some more heavier traveled areas. I don't know if Director Rana has anything to add to that, but if not, we'll get together offline about it.
Yeah, if you could identify where the signs are. I don't even know if we have a data bank of where the signs are, and then look at, are they in the right places, and if they are, put additional ones. There may be additional opportunities for additional signs throughout the county. I have had citizens say, I don't even see any signs, but because our Solicitor General is on board with littering, and certainly she is the one that made the decision on how much the fine, the individuals would be fined if they are caught throwing litter along the roads. And also, Suleiman, if you could work with GDOT to see if we could, at one point I had some conversations with GDOT, but nothing ever materialized, to see if we could get some signs along the I-20 that says do not litter or something of that sort. I don't know what they use it, the standard for Georgia, but if they just throughout county, we want to make sure when you come through Douglas, don't drop your paper. You don't need to drop paper, period. That's just not the right thing to do. But still, if we could have some signage. So could you work with GDOT to see if there's just a standard sign that's along those interstates for littering, so we could message here in Douglas County? Suleiman, he might have stepped away. But anyway, Tiffany, if you could meet with Suleiman and ask him about signage for I-20, that would be great. All right.
I will.
Okay. Do you, I don't think anybody, do you have anything else, Madam ACA?
I don't have anything else to add. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, to anyone else on the committee have anything to add? All right, if there's nothing else, guess what? This beautification committee meeting is adjourned.
Madam,
There. Okay.
Madam Chair, sorry about that. I was away for a quick second, but I heard your comment about the signage on I-20. And that's something I can coordinate with District 7, and they have a fine warning that they issue, that they post on highways. And that's something we can request to be installed on I-20.
Yeah, I don't think we have that many here in Douglas. When I'm riding through Douglas, that corridor from the entry point coming in from Georgia, from Alabama, which is the Liberty Road, I'll just say starting there. I don't see any signs of that. You may see one, but if you do, it's mangled and in the corner. So if they could just touch us up and just say, do not litter.
Understood, and that's something we'll definitely request. And another thing we're doing is with the new hire and coordination with our signing and marking team, we're actually working on building a database so we can see where every sign is. And further along the year and through this beautification committee, we can certainly update the members on what some of the signages are out there, and we can also use that database to identify some of the missing signages, such as this one, on important places.
And then speaking of which, my wheels were turning. Thank you so much, Suleiman. Madam ACH, I just thought of something, and he said the word signage. Is there possible that we could get a billboard that says "Keep Douglas County Beautiful"? Invest in, just keep Douglas County beautiful. Something that'll just blare out when you hit our county, and it doesn't have to be up there forever. But some billboard coverage. I'm just wondering. I'm thinking outside the box. What are your thoughts?
With the right amount of funding, I'm sure we can make that happen. I don't think that would be an issue at all.
And I know everybody, we mentioned we run to funding, and the board appreciates that word funding, but they just want to make sure that our citizens are getting the message, and our citizens see that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we're addressing beautification in this county. And I'm not sure if they would be opposed to us just with a big neon sign saying "Keep Douglas County Beautiful." So see if you could just research it for me. Just research it. That's all. And just
we can definitely do that. We can definitely look into that.
I don't even know if we have a billboard that we could find here in the county, but some of them are. Every now and then you have a vacant billboard.
Yes.
And we can just advertise because we've never done that before, have we?
Not with Keep Douglas County Beautiful billboard, no. But I definitely know we can find one.
I'm just wondering, is that something other counties have done, not necessarily Georgia, but outside, just benchmark, just
okay.
Thought.
I'm sure they have. I mean, it's something that we've thought about in the past, but definitely with this directive, we will definitely look and find out what the costs are.
For a billboard, and I'll take it to the. If you tell me what the billboard costs, I'll take it to the board and just ask. All I can do is put it on there and say, we're trying to ramp up the attention to the need for cleanliness and 24/7 beautification here in Douglas County, and I want to make sure it's blaring. And if they give me the nod, I think we got to take it before the Senate. So, all right. Well, if there's nothing else to come before this beautification committee, this meeting is adjourned. And thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. It's now 11:09. Thank you.